Welcome to On the Firing Line on the information station, AM 1440 KUHL. Information, education, news, and politics of firearms and ammunition is found here. If you have any questions, call us at 1-888-625-1440. That's 1-888-625-1440.
Can you guess who I am? I have run weapons across the border. I have seen my guns used in many murders in America and Mexico. I have dodged the bullet myself, not being arrested here or there. I'm the leader of a group that is untouchable. After all, who can they send to get me? I defy courts and show that I do not have to comply with the demands of orders. Some of my men have been killed following my orders, and I do not have to pay respect because I am the lord of my realm. Have you guessed who I am yet?
Oh, man. You are on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani. Be a part of today's show by calling 1-888-625-1440. Or, if you're in the Santa Maria area, give us a call at 928-1440. Wow, so who guessed who that was? Who is that guy? Who was that?
I don't know. Anybody here?
I don't know. But, well, obviously we're talking things about Holder.
Eric Holder, yes.
You know,
indeed.
we're getting very fast and furious on the topic. But this is something that, you know, I mean, literally, Joe, 3 years ago, we were kind of on here ranting about Eric Holder needs a step down. You need to get your you-know-what out of here. And
exactly. We have
finally,
this nailed.
Yeah, I mean, you know, not that we're the ultimate people. Yeah, we are. But we did predict it. It did happen. You know, hopefully it goes all the way through. Maybe something good will happen from it.
You know, I mean, that's the ultimate goal here, I think, for most of us, even though we have no control over it. So I guess it's not necessarily a goal because we have no power over any of this. But to see this happening, I think, is a good thing. Mm-hmm. I think there's still going to be a lot of government play in this. And I think even he resigning at this point is a tactical maneuver by side there. And it's just unbelievable. I don't get it.
No. I don't think they would do anything without some sort of strategy to make themselves better off.
Right, 100%. Because he wasn't just sitting there in his office one day and like, you know what, I'm over this job. You know, call the press, I'm out of here. You know, it didn't work like that. You know, we can almost guarantee you he got a knock on the door and a little psst, psst, hey, I think you should do this.
I think you're right. I think that he was a henchman. He was a puppet, and he had no business being there. And as we go through some of these articles today, some of the things that he said, some of the things that President Obama himself said.
Oh, yeah. Buddy.
My God. You know, you can tell the lies are out there just like flies, you know. The more of them.
The lies and the flies.
Right, exactly. It's bad stuff.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, just to touch on the Holder, I think that, you know, when I think of Eric Holder, like I kind of just said, I think of Fast and Furious. But, you know, and there's other things. But that was the main one for me, kind of, when the border agents were murdered. You know, that was a pretty big line that he crossed over, and then he kind of went, well, it wasn't my fault. I don't, you know, I mean, he kind of denied everything happening.
You know, it's funny. We hear about, what is it, Terry, the Border Patrol agent that was killed?
Yes.
But how often do you hear about the other person who was an American citizen and worked for a government agency as well that was killed?
Yep.
What is it? Jaime Zepeda, you know, he was killed, and a couple of the weapons were found there at his murder scene as well.
Right, and that's the thing not to forget is the weapons. I mean, they were, when you hear the term assault weapon and assault rifle, this is when you can apply that term, because that's what Eric Holder was sending down to Mexico. That's what was happening, was actual assault rifles. And, you know, and I know it's the term, I guess, more than anything, but they were, what I mean is they had...
They were fully automatic weapons.
Exactly.
And then they had 50 cal
I mean, real
rifles,
deal stuff, you know.
Of course, we're not allowed to have them in California.
Well... Yeah, but Eric Holder and Leland Yee can fix that.
They were sent by the hundreds down there.
Yeah.
You know, and
used against us.
They were used against us, and not only that, but in Mexico, if you do any reading out there, you'll find that the cartels were using these to assassinate government officials and or their family members, and guns were found there that were connected to this case, you know, the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, it makes you think about it, you know. I mean, was that intended?
I'm sorry, but if I was the president of Mexico, I would be having a talk with our attorney general there and there would have been some.
You'd be sending in SEAL Team SACE to get Holder.
Exactly. We would have started an international incident right there and then.
Exactly. That's
And who's to say that when Felipe was coming up here, that he wasn't going into Obama's ears going, I know what you did. I know what you did.
you. So
Right.
you're going to let this, and this happen in
Right.
order for me to let those. I'll forget about that whole gun thing if I can do this, that, and the other thing. Which he probably did. Take a look around.
It's scary. I mean, to me, this is a travesty because the lies, it takes down from something that we're supposed to be able to believe in. It totally takes apart. We have an ideal in America, like one of the articles that we're probably going to get into today that says, equal justice for all. And
Yeah.
I don't see that with this.
That's a good point. That's something that I think has kind of been lost over the past 10, 15 years even more. The whole, equal for all that stuff. We've lost scope of it. And I know a lot of that is in, because of, national security and things like that. But I know it's been said before, where do we, say you can have these freedoms but not these? We have to draw a line, and it has to be a permanent line.
Think of this too. Remember Clinton saying, I did not have sex with that girl.
I did not have relations with that
Right.
woman.
Okay, what did that teach our children? I mean, remember the days...
Just lie and it'll be all right. You'll get a slap on the hand.
And,
Just
and
lie.
if they do this one thing like President Clinton had done, that wasn't sex. So it's okay for them to do that.
Smoke cigars?
Yeah. Yes. All right, and then here...
Well, wait a minute. Don't we have a Marine in
Yes,
jail
sir.
down there?
Yeah.
And he wasn't.
Good point.
He was accidentally making a wrong turn, but he had 3 weapons on him.
Right. He ended up wrong place, wrong time.
But he's in jail.
But he's still there.
And
Right.
he's still there.
Right.
But, at the same time, we were also trading Al-Qaeda prisoners for traitors and deserters.
Couldn't we do a trade there? We could
Oh,
trade
yeah, we could.
Holder for him. Why
Yeah,
not?
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, 2 with 1. Get him out of here. Swear, swear. I agree.
But back to the thing, with Eric Holder getting away with this stuff, and it clearly looks like he has done something wrong here. If he's getting away with this, what kind of message does that send to our younger generations that will one day be in control of this nation?
Yeah.
That there's no rule of the land.
Well, all you got to do is step down, and you'll be okay. You won't be held accountable if you're not in that office anymore. That's what it
I
sounds like.
accuse myself.
Pretty much. Well, it's almost like I'll tell you guys what. If I get out of this office, you just forget about all that bad stuff I did while I had the chair.
Yeah.
Well, I
And they're
think-
like, okay, that's good. At least we can get our agenda starting to move the other direction now.
I think Lois Lerner tried the same trick of getting out of her position as well. And they're like, well, you can't blame me. It's the IRS's fault.
You're right.
That's
Like,
a
I'm no
point.
longer the IRS,
Right,
you know?
right. No,
Right.
exactly. Even though, I am the face of the
It's-
IRS,
exactly.
but and all of a sudden,
Now I'm the one that kind of instigated it all.
the
and
waters
have-
are getting rough. Let me get out of here.
Yeah.
This is no fun longer.
Well, let me
Well, I
ask-
guess that's taking the easy way out, which is a really terrible way to teach our kids to have
Yeah.
responsibility for their
Yeah,
actions.
that doesn't. Easy way outs don't get hard work results.
No, it doesn't.
So
But it gets results.
easy results. Oh man.
One thing is, I hear the blame constantly thrown very hard at Eric Holder for the Fast and Furious scandal.
Isn't that where it belongs?
Thank you.
But is
Thank
it,
you, Kanani.
or could it truly be that it goes up even further to the White House and to the President of the United States, who, from what I understand in some of these readings here, may have well known about this as well?
I agree with you. I think it does go. I think it does percolate to the White House.
Yeah, I would hope that the president would know what was going on with the people underneath them, especially people who have a close relationship with them, like how they say that Eric Holder does.
How many times have we heard Eric Holder was the henchman for President
For this-
Obama?
oh, yeah.
He was the puppet. So he was the, who is the mastermind then if he's the puppet?
Not too
Well,
many people above
I was
him.
gonna say
puppets
that
that
is-
are pulling my strings.
Well, that's true. I mean, in the pyramid, when you're up there like Holder
Yeah.
was, there's not that many directions you can go for people to command you around.
Exactly.
Unless it's somebody who has you by the what, and then who knows, and they can drink you in all sorts of ways. But I agree.
Yep. I'd be really interested in hearing what some of the people out there think.
Yeah.
I hope that some of you do give us a call today, or at least go on our Facebook page and leave a note or a comment. But give us a call here.
1-888 625-1440. And if you're in the local Santa Maria area, 928-1440. So yeah, hit us up, call us. Also check our Facebook page, On the Firing Line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani. And, Kanani's been posting up on YouTube through our Facebook every week, the show, so you can re-listen to it. Obviously, you can't call in live there, but you can listen to it. And
you can still leave comments that
Yeah.
we can address on the show in the following weeks and or on the Facebook post.
Yep, absolutely.
All true.
Don't forget, that phone number is 888-625-1440. Or if you're in the Santa Maria area, you can give us a call at 928-1440. 928-1440. Don't forget, if you didn't get the phone number right now, you can always go on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
We've posted up the outline for today's show. You can get the phone number off of that as well. And we want to hear your thoughts. Where are we on the wrong track? Are we on the right track? Does this man have more to answer for than just the Fast and Furious? Do you think he should be going after the people from Benghazi, responsible for Benghazi? Do you think he should be going after the IRS? There's a number of other things here that we need to take a look at. And it's sad that our president is standing up saying that this man has such a great track record, as we're going to get into here in a little bit.
Yeah.
And but yet here we are with these questions. Unbelievable. All right, on that note, we should probably take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hit this up some more. So we'll be right back on the firing line.
You're listening to On the Firing Line on the information station.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We'll be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local ladies.
The store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
Have you been looking for a new or used motorcycle or all-terrain vehicle?
With a staff that has a combined 270 years of experience to inspire and help you make that informed decision.
Santa Maria Motorcycles is your one-stop shop, and their mission is to provide you with that ultimate experience.
They also have rentals, so you can take that ride you have been dreaming of up the coast.
They're located at 2022 Prescott Lane in Santa Maria, or give Chris and his team a call at 805-928-3668. Again, that's 805-928-3668.
We're happy to have a special guest here today at the Plumbing Talk Studios, Jeremy Griffin, owner of Griffin Plumbing in Orcutt. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Jeremy, the reason your plumbing company is called Griffin Plumbing is that your last name is, in fact, Griffin.
Yeah, that's right.
Unbelievable. Griffin, just like the legendary creature with the body of a lion and the wings of an eagle.
Yeah.
What a brilliant move, Jeremy.
I'm a genius.
To name your plumbing company after this majestic creature. A creature known not only to have divine power, but also to be a protector from all things evil.
Well, it is my last name.
Audience, listen carefully. If your plumbing devices are threatened in any way, I implore you to seek the power and protection of the Griffin.
We're always here to help. Just give us a call.
Call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
You are on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani. Be a part of today's show by calling 888-625-1440, or if you're in the Santa Maria area, please give us a call at 928-1440.
That's right. You are back on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani. So we got some interesting news about Eric Holder that we are discussing. And we encourage you to give us a call on this general discussion, 1-888-625-1440 or 928-1440. All right, what's the next piece we're going to break apart here?
We're back to Attorney Jerk.
Attorney Jerk. Nice.
He is kind of the Attorney Jerk.
Yes. Just a little slip there.
Sorry,
Is that Freudian or is that for real?
There's been an official change, guys. Attorney Jerk.
Let's try that again. Attorney General Eric Holder, the first African American to be the nation's top cop, announced he is resigning.
Well, from my standpoint, because of the stuff that we've talked about in the past, I think that's a good thing. However, why did he actually get down? Like, what happened? What was the one action that he said, I'm taking my foot off the pedestal?
You know, I don't think we're going to actually know that until... I wonder
do you have any ideas?
If Obama and him, when they had this conversation about this, if they actually had to sit down and write down what they discussed, if that's going to become public information at some point.
So that's a good point.
Freedom of Information Act.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're going to, once it does become public information, it's going to be very skewed, probably.
We have a caller on the line?
Dan.
What's happening, Dan?
That's Dan.
Hey there, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I was going to get my Subaru passenger airbag replaced.
Awesome, good for you.
And I'm listening to the thing and it said Eric Holder is resigning, and I'm going, wow, what a wonderful thing. And there was an old gentleman sitting in the lounge there while we're waiting for our cars, and he went by and he saw that thing and he looked, and he goes, wow, what a great thing, and I hope they prosecute this.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what we're saying. We kind of hope they prosecute, too. I think Mexico even has a right to prosecute somehow.
I mean, this guy is so crooked.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy is so crooked, and, the Chicago, Obama guys, and so anti-gunner, and there he is running guns.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and then not prosecuting the IRS scandal. I mean, something's going to happen here, and I hope the voters wake up and go to go and vote in November and make this thing change.
Yeah, I agree, because we've seen them kind of stack up now with Yee a couple months ago, and now this. So we got some top dogs basically red-handed here. So now would be a good time to, for the lack of better words, make an example for this kind of stuff. Especially when they
But you know
positions.
that midterm elections are coming up here soon, and I'll tell you what, this is the perfect opening for him to get out of trouble, because Obama's going to give him a pardon. That's the way it's going to work.
Bummer.
Oh yeah, the other thing that's really bad too. I'm a member of the, California Rifle and Pistol Association, and Brandon Coombs. I've been, I actually called Jerry Brown, and I emailed emailed and called everybody.
Yep, that's
here.
what we've said it before. I mean, that's the only way we can really get through to all these people in these higher seats is, daily we can send them emails. We have their phone numbers. We can encourage our friends and family to also call them and things like that.
No, but calling them, really helps. And it's funny because I'm going De Leon. I actually had a Democrat that I called, and they sort of laughed and realized how much of an idiot this guy is.
Yep, and there's a lot of that idiot going around, enough for everybody, I think. But thanks, Dan, for giving us a call. Hopefully we'll talk to you next week and bringing up some good points. I'm glad that there's other people out there who feel the same way we do. Take care, buddy.
You betcha. You guys.
So
awesome.
That's good to hear that there's other folks out there who see the news lines like we do, and hey, I mean, they're also saying it's a good thing. So, at least it's just not us four.
Yeah, I just don't think that it's always just a couple of us that think this way. I think there are a lot of people who believe the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. And it's just, I think a lot of people don't want to necessarily stand up and scream it like the way we're doing.
Yeah, but it's more than,
feel it.
yeah, I mean, there's more than just standing up and yelling and screaming or getting on the radio or calling. I mean, you can, like what Dan just said, you can do email, and you can send, fill out those forms so that you can get your opinion across to the people who are in charge.
Yep.
I again, this is a strategic move. We have to be very careful what's happening next. It'll be interesting to see who does get nominated for the position next. And we have to be careful. Right now, it's the Senate that has control of approving that nomination, and this is a strategic move of why they're doing it now, is because if they do put in somebody else, they can get it passed. And that's where the problems are. If they wait and that Senate gets changed to where it's more of a Republican-run Senate, then you can guarantee that whoever Obama tries to put in there before he's out, it's not going to happen. So that has a lot to do with it.
So yeah, I mean, it's right now they have an opportunity to pick something that could be a golden goose for them.
Speaking of Obama had actually came out on the news with Eric Holder, and they announced it at the White House. So let me see. I think it was, which garden was that in? The Rosie Garden? All right, so let's see here. He just did it at the White House alongside of Holder. But there's something here that's said that just blows me away. He says, through it all, he's shown a deep and abiding fidelity to one of our cherished ideals as a people, and that is equal justice under the law, Obama said.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Equal justice for who, though?
Yeah, is he saying that just to convince himself?
Well, think about that.
I think he's trying to convince the people that this is how it's supposed to be, and that this equal justice, according to them, is actual justice, and everything else is false.
I think our president's racist, and that's why he said it that way.
Holy moly.
I know that's a strong statement, but hey,
I don't think it counts as being racist if you're racist against everybody but himself.
Well, I mean, it does have a...
I mean, there's usually only one...
I think there was a Ku Klux Klan man that said that once. Okay.
Yeah. Give us a call about that. What do you think? 1-888-625-1440 or 928-1440.
Feel free to disagree.
Absolutely.
I dare you.
And President Obama went on to say even more. He said, he praised Holder for doing a superb job ticking off his impressive work to root out corruption and fight violent crime and lower the incarceration rate and protect civil rights.
Did you say ticking off?
I was going to say, can you stop and just put a period right there? Because he did an impressive job of ticking off.
I think you're right. I can't believe how this was written in this article. This was written by Pierre Thomas, Mike Levine, Jack Date, and Jack Cloherty. But yeah, ticking off his impressive work. What a choice of words from our president,
Yeah, and I like of all that stuff that he said. I mean, nothing happened that significant of any of those three categories. I mean, he didn't. I just don't see any of that happening. He raised crime rate because we know. I mean, look at all that. If you send 10,000 guns illegally, that's going to be at least 5,000 people that illegally have guns.
Yeah.
That right there is raising a crime rate. But I could be totally wrong.
Absolutely. Now think, right out of those same liberal gardens, he said the incarceration rate is lower. I'm sorry, does that mean we're not arresting the bad guys?
No, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
because
my God.
He's like, oh, he's part of Shrimp Boy's gang. Don't touch him. Yeah. Shrimp Boy, Yee's compadre, right?
Yeah, Yee's henchman. Every liberal's got to have a henchman.
Oh, I wonder who Holders will be named. Like Shrimp Boy. I mean, what's it got to be? Chicken Boy, Chicken Man. Who knows?
Super Chicken on his way.
Puerto Rico.
Jim.
No, Jim.
No.
Think of this. He also said that he had impressive background in doing his job in protecting civil rights.
Huh?
All right.
How so?
So what did he do that was so great in Missouri that stopped the riots?
Oh my. That's kind of like how Bloomberg is so great.
What did he do that was so great when he went and investigated the Trayvon Martin shooting? What did he get accomplished?
Or Ferguson.
I'm just going to stand back and let you guys handle it. That's what he accomplished.
Wait, no, let me
This is such a
stick my
terrible
nose
tragedy.
Because Obama told me to. But I'm not going to accomplish anything
I'm just gonna
unless you think me making my president look better is such a great thing.
Him and Al Sharpton, right?
I was thinking Al Sharpton, too, yeah.
They're right together doing the mighty job down there.
So they are communists, like 100%.
Didn't they tell Sharpton to get the hell out of town?
Yeah, Ferguson? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was praised the other night. I was watching him being praised the other night for Ferguson.
Al, just get out of here.
You know what? I heard rumor that Al Sharpton, I think it was Al Sharpton, is going to get to help figure out who should be take Holder's place.
Oh, yes, he did. Remember last night he said that he wanted to be involved. He wanted to be involved in the committee of selection.
Well,
selection committee. He's a non-elected official.
Person. And he wants to be involved.
He wants to be involved. He could be on an advisory thing. You know, in other words, like when the committee puts itself together. They already have the committee. But when they put it together, he can be an advisor to that committee. He can be.
Hey, if our votes don't count, why don't they just put him up there as president?
Well, maybe there's some audience
President
people
Al
out there.
Sharpton.
Maybe some audience people want to be on there. If you do, listen to this. Call this number, 888-625-1440. Or if you're in Santa Maria, 928-1440.
Give us a call.
Jingle.
You might find yourself right on that panel. I'm telling you.
And who doesn't want to meet Sharpton?
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Who wants to go there?
Now, it's not over. Holder is actually is expected to impose new curbs on racial profiling in law enforcement before he leaves.
Really?
Okay, does that not tick somebody off, that statement alone?
Yeah.
We've got the most prejudiced
that's
people
I'm trying to make
in the
sense
House,
of that.
in the law enforcement now at the higher levels that are, oh my God, it's like taking all the law enforcement's done in all these years and saying, ha, this means nothing. Wait until we're done.
Right, yeah, that's exactly how I'm feeling. It's kind of like the upward slope, and then you trip and whoop, go right down it. And that's kind of what's happening, and it sucks for all the people that have worked so hard. You know, and then to have a couple goons up there like these jokers. Who
Yeah, but for all that work, you really
masters.
didn't build that, so.
Well, he didn't, but he helped destroy it.
In a single bound. Faster than a locomotive.
Fast and furious.
Yeah, fast and furious,
Yeah,
exactly.
see,
and that's not the Tokyo Drift. But.
Ouch.
That was
pretty close.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I concur. All right. So, what are we making of this jumbled soup of Holderness? Whoa.
You know, it still just gets me. Okay, so guess what? When he leaves, he actually wants to join some sort of group that's, it says here, in light of the recent unrest in Ferguson, Missouri, after he officially steps down, Holder wants to continue helping to restore trust between law enforcement and minority communities.
But I think he wants to continue to ride the wave of his attorney generalship to the community partnership.
Well, that's on his resume now.
Oh, that's the ideal life for an activist,
isn't it?
But when he points that out to people, I was the attorney general, and be like, and how'd that work out? So don't even tell me about that. Is all I'm saying. You know.
Oh my God.
They'll be all angry and say, "Hey, but what were you doing for our civil rights, huh? Or down here suffering, and you didn't do anything."
No, yeah, just read the article. I did all kinds of stuff.
I know, right? Obama gave me the stamp of approval.
What law school is he going to go to? Harvard, Yale, Brown University?
No, that's a good point.
George Washington University, most likely, or somewhere more liberal than that.
Maybe in California.
Maybe Berkeley.
Oh,
Because Stanford don't want.
Yeah, we saw that one coming a mile away. Come on. Hey, now check this out. This is something else that we don't hear a whole lot about anymore. This is something that was almost swept under the rug because we heard about it for maybe about 2 or 3 weeks and then it was gone. Yeah. And I haven't heard anything else about it.
What is it?
And this was when Holder was forced to revise how the Justice Department handles journalists after an uproar over the department's secret seizure of reporters' phone records and the department dubbing one journalist as a criminal co-conspirator. Now, tell me if that's not a violation of his office right there and his oath.
That's, yeah. But
what, are we back underneath Nixon's ideals here?
I thought there was amendments in place for that type of thing. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Honestly, I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And here's something else that's always bugged me about Holder and President Obama in the way they look at how terrorists should be dealt with. They wanted to literally bring terrorists here to the United States and try them like American citizens in our courts.
That's what I'm just... that's crazy to me. And he's saying that they deserve that.
Yes.
They deserve that much to come over here and get a free trial. Really?
And he claims on his own laurels that had they have done that, these guys would have already been proven guilty and be serving time.
Wow. It's an armchair general, huh? I mean...
Honestly, you're right. It's like backseat driver.
Yeah, I mean, of course you could sit there and say, yeah, that would make things so much better if that happened, but look what's actually happened, and you have to go off facts, not utopia.
Ronnie's looking at us like bewildered, like, I can't believe this.
No, I just can't.
I am so
I
much
can't
smarter
believe
than
this.
See? Told you.
All right, well, let's hear it then. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they're saying that they would just bring them here so that they can be tried and then prosecuted as terrorists and it would happen, then why don't we just go after them and take care of them now?
Yeah.
That's a good point. Why
just
don't
be done with it? I mean, why even bother to waste the Americans' time with their tax money to try them?
If he's so sure
that
about
is
it.
such a good point,
Yeah,
because
I mean,
what is a trial? It's a trial. If it was truly a trial, it would be innocent until proven guilty, right?
Exactly. But he's already claimed them as being guilty.
They've already been convicted and sentenced.
Right.
Yeah. Right off the bat. So that is a good point. Yeah, I mean, basically, I think it looks all nice and peachy when you give people a trial. Of course, it looks, like we did a great thing. However, like you just said, I mean, it's wasting money and time, and they're terrorists, first of all.
I mean, we're not even...
Why do they deserve anything, especially if they're already in another country?
Right.
Why change the laws for these you-know-whats just so they can get a fair trial and be sentenced in America? It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
And it kind of almost sounds like that they know where they're at, so why can't we just go take care of it?
Yeah, if it's that easy.
I mean, I mean, if we're not even taking the time to incarcerate and take care of our own problems, why are we wasting our time doing it with others?
Maybe if Holder and his cronies gotten a helo to Afghanistan, we gave them like 1 week, maybe they could end all this.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, they know where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gave me a thought.
Uh-oh.
That did. I thought about that. Maybe they know where they are at.
You mean like they probably knew where Bin Laden was?
Well, they did. We watched Zero Dark 30.
Right.
It was almost a year. Almost a year. What was it? 207
let's politically
days.
wait until this serves us better.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
of course,
and it wasn't until
of
she
course
grabbed
we
him
can
by
kill him
the...
with a bomb, but let's shoot him with bullets so we can prove it's him. I mean, there's a lot of political things that went into that.
This just goes to show how much America's interest comes second to their own interest, and this is part of the liberal.
That's true. That's sad.
Sickness.
But there's something wrong with us, though, or at least they try to propose that our priorities are not their priorities, and they're trying to push that we adopt what their ideas are.
If you're going to be here.
Right, exactly. If you're going to be here in our America, then you need to be thinking the way we do and doing the rules and doing the same actions that we're doing.
Communism.
It's amazing that they call it our America when there's so many real Americans out there.
But they're not Americans in their minds.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And again, that's part of the sickness.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is we have cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, and a few other large cities that want to portray that mindset and that attitude is this is the way it is. Mm-hmm. When if you go out into the suburbs and out into the country of America, you find that is not the way people think.
Well, look how polarized our own county is between North and South County.
Oh, good example.
I mean, there's the complete opposite of views. I mean, just the stories that you give, Matt. I mean, it's amazing that how does one bend in the road change someone's perspective so drastically?
And I think about that all the time. I mean, you go 50 miles, and people they act like they were raised in different countries.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Measure P is a great example of that.
That's what I was just thinking about when you mentioned that. Yeah, you see, up here, it's very strong, no for Measure P. It seems like it's the obvious. When you go down there, I mean, they're still running the commercials on the air, but you don't see the signs like you do down here, or up here, excuse me.
On that note, we should probably take another sponsored break here.
Pew, pew.
When we come back, we're going to continue this. We're going to talk a little bit about Fast and Furious. We want to talk about some of the orders that the judges have made for Holder and why and what they mean, as well as we want to talk about the Fast and Furious, give you some information on what the Fast and Furious is, where it came from, who the ideas and what kind of weapons were passed through. I mean, there's a whole plethora of information to come out of that. And we here on the Fire Line have that information for you. Yep. So when we come back, if you want to be a part of today's show, give us a call at
1-888-625-1440 or in Santa Maria local area 928-1440.
We'll be back to more of On the Firing Line with Joe and Jim after this.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We will be right back with you on the Firing Line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on AM1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local ladies.
The store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
On the air with the Midnight Mystic is one of our regular callers, truck driver Charlie.
Well, I just seen another one, Midnight Mystic.
Another Griffin, Charlie?
I'm telling you, they're all over the Central Coast now.
How long have you been on the road now, Charlie?
2, 5, 8 weeks, I don't know.
Perhaps you should park the truck and get some sleep, and maybe the Griffins will disappear.
Well, there it is again. I'm going after it.
What does it look like, Charlie?
Holy mackerel. It's got the body of a lion and the head of an eagle.
Is it flying, Charlie?
It's on the side of a white truck.
Is it a Griffin plumbing truck, Charlie?
Could be. I don't know. I'm pulling right up to it.
We seem to have lost contact with Charlie, but I'm sure he'll be okay because Griffins, just like the good folks at Griffin Plumbing, are here to protect and serve. In fact, if your plumbing devices are threatened in any way,
call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
Welcome back to On the Firing Line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani.
That's right. You are back on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani. Give us a call, 1-888-625-1440, or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. So, looks like we got some more information on this superhighway for you.
You know, I just got a comment sent in to me that, remember we were talking about Eric Holder and the president, they wanted these people to be arrested.
Right.
And, of course, they already planned that they were guilty, and so we could put them in our prison system, right?
Right. Yeah, why try them?
Well, what was texted to me is this. What better place to spread cancer than in our prison system?
That's a good one.
That's one place to build it, that's for sure.
But think about that. I mean, that's where they can infect America from within.
What kind of sick you-know-what sent that?
Oh, man.
I'm just saying. It's a comment that sounds like it's spoken with experience. That's all I'm saying.
It wasn't my wife, I'm telling you. It wasn't.
But it's...
But
it is a spot. I mean, you've heard of it as, kind of a melting pot type scenario, and you get in there, and I imagine, yes, all that type of stuff runs rampant. I mean, it's easy.
Yeah, it is. It's easy. You have a locked crowd in there to hear what you have to say. They obviously can't get away from those types of things. And they're going to be, all riled up and, are fighting against the institution, against the man.
Yeah.
Woo! A lot of dictators in there.
Oh, man.
And they have to listen.
Yep, or else. So, I don't know. It's an interesting comment that this great fan of ours has sent us. But it does get me thinking, I don't know, that's a different direction, that's for sure.
Yep. Let me recover from this. We might have to take a quick break.
I don't
know. But
so what about Fast and Furious then?
Yes.
What are some? Well actually, why don't you say what was Fast and Furious?
What was Fast and Furious? Well, first of all, Fast and Furious was a gun walking program set up in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was after I think a few different gun shops had received people coming in to buy guns, and they were receiving large orders of certain types of guns that were the types that would have been used by the cartels.
They were described as like military in nature.
Right.
Whatever that means.
As Matt calls them, assault weapons.
Yeah, as Matt does, yeah.
And so these guys were calling the ATF saying, hey, we've got suspicious things going here. We're turning these people down, and they're coming in with bags of cash.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. I mean,
brown bags of cash.
Literally a bag with, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands probably in cash. And it puts these, you think of a guy who's got his little tiny business, puts him in a rough spot, especially when they say, the plato or pluma, where they're going to take, silver or lead. I mean, it's a bad decision.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering, Joe just said that it was a situation that was set up by the ATF, but I'm almost wondering if it was just a convenient situation that they could take advantage of, knowing that these gun dealers had called them to report this, and then they didn't quite. I don't know. My understanding is they didn't do anything about it.
So it was one of those things like, we got activity down here. Let's just sit back and let it take its course.
Yeah.
And if it's illegal, then hey, we'll have them. If it's not, then we won't.
Right.
I think that's called entrapment. But anyway, wherever the guns were coming from, a higher up knew about it. Came out that Holder knew about it himself, and so I don't know if he was actually looking at or signing things, okaying those direct actions, or was he just kind of, was he a literal puppet master, or was he more just sitting back and not saying anything?
If you remember his testimony before Congress, he was saying this was started in the Bush administration.
Yeah,
but the action was just started.
Right.
In other words, the ideas and working the show and working the thing.
I remember
but actually, not one gun passed the border.
That's right. That was there was no physical anything.
Right.
There was just,
that was his excuse. I'm following up what was started underneath the Bush administration. Right. Exactly. But the fact remained is that the guns are not chipped. I use chipped, and that means that they're not tractable. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
I mean, that's
which is ridiculous, which is stupid. Why would you do that?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that was the one thing that I think that was so just ludicrous. Like, how do you plan to do a gun trafficking, situation or operation and then not actually track any of the guns?
Right.
I mean, it's completely it's just ridiculous. Like, who thinks of this?
I want to take you back a little bit farther during the Reagan administration when they armed the Contras. You remember that?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they didn't put firing pins in the weapons.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was kind of, I thought that whole thing was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't think the president should have been involved in that, and I really don't believe he really was, but I think he knew something about it. But the whole thing is, at least he protected us.
Right, at least it was some sort of fail-safe. The thing
right, but this is not.
Yeah.
I mean, when the weapons come back and shoot you, and not in the foot, folks.
Right,
right in the heart.
Yeah, right in the face.
Took one of our own Border Patrol with the gun that was in your trunk.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I guess, did any of these situations or any of these guns come back that actually resulted in what they were telling us they were trying to do?
Probably not. That's a good question. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, was it successful?
I don't know if any arrests were made. And from what I understood, that as soon as it crossed the Mexican border, they lost control of them because they didn't have anything set up with the Mexican government.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to pinpoint that because we don't even know who received them. And there was no way of getting feedback. And I think that's what you're trying to say, right?
Right.
Is there any way we could get some of those people back to find out where the weapons are?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
if we're supposed to track where they're going, did anybody track anything?
That's
did we
an
actually
interesting
get
point.
anything?
Why didn't we do that? What's your name and address, please? I'm giving you a gun. Can I have it? No. I'm serious. We should have had people in the CIA or whoever was. It was the Tobacco and Firearm.
Yeah,
right?
ATF.
They should have followed them.
Well, they should have had people there already. Well, we follow them. Just
what good is it to sell somebody a gun that they can walk out with, and then we have no idea where it goes? How do you follow it?
That's just selling a gun.
I know how we follow it. When we get the numbers of the guns, where we pick them up at the murder scenes, we'll know who has them.
And that's probably the sad truth is that, don't worry, we'll know when they're back in the country because we'll start finding them on bodies.
And they did.
And they did, exactly.
Yeah. That's like the worst way to find out about it, though.
Oh,
yeah. Especially when
it's
it
like
kills
these
your
faulty
own
products
agents.
are going out and we're going to sell them. Well, don't worry if we can't find who bought those faulty products because the people will just end up dead. We're just going to wait for a catastrophe to happen before we actually do anything.
We want to get phone calls coming in about this because it's a very important subject. It has a lot to do with you. So give us a call, 888-625-1440 or 928-1440. Numbers again, 888-625-1440 or 928-16 or 928-1440. Sorry, Matt, I stole your thunder, but I lost a phone call.
Oh, man.
No, if you called, please call back again. We do want your phone call. And, we're going to listen to what you have to say because how else are we going to get through all this without agreeing with other people or even coming into arguments sometimes? Because, that's how we grow, right?
Well, we got to hear other ideas, whether or not. There's things that we hear out there that we just never even occurred to us that could be a possibility. Or some other type of a different interpretation on what's going on, and that's always helpful for us to strengthen our own ideas.
Yeah. Something that's been getting to me that I read in this, there was the question of what law enforcement agencies were involved in Fast and Furious. Yeah. Most of the time, all we hear about is what? ATF, right? It's
FBI.
ATF blunder. Okay, FBI is part of it. But do you out there, do you know that ICE was part of this?
Well,
Homeland Security was part of this. The Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, was part of this. Also, the Arizona U.S. Attorney's Office, and like Kanani said, the FBI, and the IRS was also involved in this. Why is the IRS? Is that because of monies earned from selling things?
Maybe.
Don't make dollars, it don't make sense. That's...
So with all these people involved, I'm surprised that they just sort of stopped being involved once the borderline happens. Like, we couldn't stop them once they left the country?
Well, and here's a bigger question. If they're all involved, then that means there's office memorandums and information cruising back and forth amongst them. You mean to tell me none of them went to the White House?
No, their hard drive was stolen and or magnetically deleted.
I take the fifth.
Those emails are lost in cyberspace, Joe. Don't you know how computers work?
My God.
But that's a good point, though, with all the all the chatter going on between those guys and their little sewing circles or whatever. you know for a fact that word would get from one to the next, and it would probably go up the chain because those circles are fairly tight.
Right.
And for that reason alone, that's why I think other people were privy to this. It wasn't just,
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
agencies,
6 different
right.
agencies.
Right.
These are the 6 henchmen of President Obama.
And they're all federal agencies. And they're reputable, the ones that are supposed to be good and on our side. So,
not so good, not so on our side. I think we've seen that
much.
proven over and over and over again. Fast and Furious is a bad thing within itself. But what about Benghazi?
Yeah, it's all...
That was a heartbreaker for a lot of us.
Yeah, because that was actually, anytime something actually happens at an embassy, to me, that's real high on the bar.
We had a phone call, and he was trying to get a different subject. We don't have enough time on this, but it's a very, very interesting question. You might want to bring it up again. He was saying that 70% of the people that were processed through, the illegal immigrants, but were they're set up for appointments that Obama and Eric Holder had, they had processed these people through, and so you're supposed to come back. And I did hear something about this. They're supposed to come back for their appointments.
Right.
Like they've been processed. In other words,
those guys never do come back because
they didn't.
Right. They're elected to America.
70%. That's tens of thousands.
Easy.
Could be as high as 60, maybe 60, 70,000 people.
Well, we end up losing track of those people because we have no way to contact them because they don't have a place of residence.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to come back. You're supposed to.
We're supposed to believe them that they're honestly going to come back and register themselves.
Well, do you know at Ellis Island? When you came through Ellis Island and they deloused you at well, they deloused it first, but they did later on. Anyway, long story short is that you had to go back to immigration.
Yeah.
You had to.
Right.
You were forced to. People don't really. Oh yeah, it was a free country, but if you came through Ellis Island, you had to come back and state where you're at and everything else. That was part of the process of becoming an American.
And I think people respected. Yeah,
exactly.
They respected what they would get out of it if they did come back.
That's
versus
right.
Now they take advantage of the system because they know that they're not going to do anything.
That's a
Keyword there.
point.
Respect. They thanked America for bringing them, letting them come in. So they went back and said, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They followed what the rules were.
Yeah.
That's the difference. One was respect and one's taking advantage.
For a lot of those people leaving the countries where they were persecuted, where they could make no money, they could not even make food for their families, and to come to America where they had heard about this ideal and this way of life, where they could actually have a chance to be like their kings and be better than their kings because they could have the ideals of what America presented.
Yeah.
gave them the want
I
to
agree
be and respect the place that they were coming to. Nowadays, you have so many people that come to this country and they bring their ideals of how they lived, whether it's the Middle East or Argentina. And no, those ideals, they're not necessarily welcome. It's okay to bring your heritage
or your culture. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah. Your
but
food.
Don't bring your government ideals.
No.
We already have one.
You tried to escape that.
Well, I think they misunderstand what the freedom in America is the freedom to do and to
whatever you want.
Right, to do whatever you want. But the "I'll do what I want" kind of attitude is very different.
When they say you're free to do whatever you want, they don't really mean like, okay, just do whatever you want, just have fun.
Right.
You're free to be a winner, you're free to be a loser.
Exactly.
You're free to make $1 million, and you're free to make $1. That nobody cares. Put it that way. But you're free to do it.
It's almost like when you're a little kid and you go, "I can't wait till I grow up. I can do whatever I want." And then you become
yourself that.
And then when you become an adult, it's like, I can do whatever I want. I don't actually have to eat, real meals. I can eat cereal all I want. But you still have responsibilities. You still kind of need to pay your bills. You still have to
take care of yourself so you can pay those bills.
Right. Yeah, you should probably take a shower once a day and brush your teeth. But
then we have so many people in office nowadays. I mean, we have so many people in office that have so much money. Granted, there are still some that are like us, but there are so many that have so much money that they've never had to worry about that in their life. And so when they get out of high school where they were class president because they said, "Vote for me, I'll make sure you have a Coke machine," those ideals transfer up to our government. And because we, the people out here, aren't strong enough or smart enough or have the time, which I think we do, to go out and vote and do our investigation to see who the right person is to put in office.
I think it's more than that, though. I think that they're going to vote and pick the people who are going to give them the Coke machine.
That's a good
point. You know what's really
sad thing that has come down to that.
You know what's on the other side of that, too, though? Is that we educate a lot of people, too, in America.
Yeah.
We bring them in from other countries, very educated people, very intelligent people, and then as soon as we educate them, we send them back.
Yeah.
The productive ones that we want to stay here and be productive, we send them back to the countries, but the ones that come in illegally or however, like this man was just saying on the phone, 70% of them don't even come back and say thank you.
But we're going to educate those ones, too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Think after World War II, how many scientists we brought over from Germany, how many scientists we brought in from around the world, and how much we went through a very prosperous time after that.
We stole some from Russia.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We did. We literally stole them.
We went through a very prosperous time, and people were able to grow, businesses were able to grow, all kinds of things flourished. And now that we've put caps on what they can do, and we only let so many people in, and we send people back to other countries and stuff like that, we do see a shortage, and we're being constricted down to the point where we're becoming stagnant in our growth.
That's what they probably want. It's a lot
or they want voters.
It's a lot easier to control the crowd when everybody's,
And the big question of the day is, who are they?
Well, who are they?
Big government.
The proverbial they, them.
Big brother.
Yeah.
The man.
Not little brother, but big brother.
Big industry.
They got power.
Big industry. Oh. Wow.
Oh, man.
A lot of interesting thoughts today.
Yeah, lots going on, that's for sure. I'm sure, as when all this kind of stuff hits the news, like with Holder right now, we'll probably get more information over the coming few days. Usually stuff kind of, either the skeletons start finding the door or, other things develop. And so, stay tuned with us too. And we also urge you to do your own research for that. Go onto our Facebook site on the firing line with Matt, Joe, and Kanani, or Joe, Matt, and Kanani, excuse me. And ask your questions there if you got any, because this is going to be something we're all going to watch this develop and see what happens to good old Schmister Holder.
Yep, and remember, midterm elections are coming.
Yeah.
This is the time when we have to be vigilant. This is the time where we have to talk with our friends, get together, have dinners in groups to where we can discuss things.
That's true.
And educate ourselves on the people who are going to be running for these positions that will tell us for a long time to come what we can do and what we can't do, because we elected them to do such a job.
And that's totally true. I mean, because there's people, they may not know a darn thing about who to vote for or what's upcoming in the elections, but they still know deep down how they feel and what they want, right? And so a lot of times those people just don't know until you tell them in a conversation that, hey, this person is probably going to be something you might want to look into. They might, have a light bulb moment there, and you might have just helped us get that one vote. So, like Joe was saying, have your discussions, especially right now, these times when things are close.
And if you're not registered to vote, then you still have another couple weeks to register to vote. So you can make your voice known.
Yes.
What is it? You go to the post office. I've been registered so long.
I think you can do it online.
Can you do it online now? See, it's even easier. And not everybody has a computer, but you can always go to a friend's house that has a computer and do it.
And rock the vote.
Yep, library, post office, DMV.
All right, well, cool. So stay tuned for next week's same bat time, same bat place on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani.